Sergeant Maya Chen had learned to sleep light aboard the GSS Triumph. When you shared quarters with a squad of Krenathi warriors, deep sleep was a luxury you couldn't afford, not because they were dangerous exactly, but because they were curious, endlessly, relentlessly curious about everything human. She woke to soft, chittering sounds and the unmistakable feeling of being watched. Opening one eye, Maya spotted two pairs of golden eyes reflecting the dim corridor light. Kit and Razor, the youngest members of Squad Talon, crouched near her bunk. Their dark fur bristled with excitement, and their long tails swished back and forth across the floor. "What are you two doing?" Maya muttered, sitting up. Her hand instinctively reached for her hair, which had exploded into a chaotic mess during the night. She grimaced. 3 weeks without proper shore leave meant 3 weeks of barely managing her thick, curly hair in the recycled air of a warship. Razor, the bolder of the two cubs, held something in his clawed hands. Maya's stomach dropped. Her hairbrush, the nice one, the only one she had that could handle her texture. "Give that back," she said, keeping her voice calm. The Krenathi were predators, after all. Quick movements could trigger their chase instinct, and she'd learned that lesson the hard way during training exercises. Kit chirped something in their clicking language, and Razor responded by running the brush through his own sleek fur. His eyes went wide. His ears, tall and pointed like a cat's, swiveled forward with surprise. He made a deep rumbling sound that Maya had learned meant pleasure or contentment. "Oh no," Maya whispered. Razor brushed again, his movements awkward and unpracticed. Krenathi didn't have grooming tools beyond their own claws and rough tongues. Their fur naturally repelled dirt and stayed sleek through some biological mechanism humans still didn't fully understand. But that didn't stop Razor from dragging the brush through his coat again and again, his rumbling growing louder. Kit reached for the brush, and the two cubs began a gentle tug of war, both chittering excitedly. Maya sighed and swung her legs out of bed. All right. Give it here before you break it." Both cubs froze, their ears flattening slightly. They looked at her with those enormous golden eyes, and Maya felt her resolve crumble. They looked like scolded puppies, if puppies were 4 feet tall, covered in midnight fur, and could rip through steel plating with their claws. "Fine," she said, holding out her hand. "But let me show you how to use it properly." Razor approached first, tail high with excitement. Maya took the brush and gestured for him to sit. He dropped onto his haunches immediately, his military training overriding his juvenile enthusiasm. Gently, Maya began brushing his fur in long, even strokes, the way her mother had taught her to brush her own hair years ago. The effect was immediate. Razor's eyes half closed, and his rumbling became a steady purr. His tail, which had been swishing nervously, now lay still. Kit watched intently, memorizing every movement. "You have to go with the growth pattern," Maya explained, even though she knew they couldn't understand most of her words. The Krenathi were still learning human languages, and the cubs knew only basic commands. "See? Long strokes, gentle pressure." When she finished with Razor, his coat gleamed in a way she'd never seen before. The fur seemed to catch the light differently, creating an almost iridescent effect. Kit practically vibrated with impatience for his turn. Maya had just finished brushing Kit when she heard heavy footsteps in the corridor. Commander Scaroth, the squad leader, ducked through the doorway. He stood nearly 7 feet tall, his scarred muzzle speaking to decades of combat. His dark uniform bore the markings of the Krenathi Defense Legion, and his presence filled the small room. He took one look at the cubs, stopped mid-step, and tilted his head. "What have you done to them?" Maya stood up quickly, snapping to attention as best she could in her sleep clothes. "Sir, I was just—" Scaroth approached Razor, circling the cub slowly. He reached out one large hand and ran it through the brushed fur. His ears swiveled forward. "Explain," he commanded. "It's called brushing, sir," Maya said. Humans do it to maintain our hair. I was just showing them—" "Do me," Scaroth interrupted. Maya blinked. "Sir? This brushing technique, demonstrate on me." It wasn't a request. For the next 10 minutes, Maya brushed the commander's fur while he sat perfectly still, his eyes closed. She had to stand on her bunk to reach his head and shoulders properly. His fur was thicker than the cub's, denser, with the coarse texture of a seasoned warrior who'd seen countless battles. As she worked, she found old scars hidden beneath the fur, paths where the hair grew differently. By the time she finished, Scaroth looked transformed. His fur had taken on the same gleaming quality as the cub's, and he seemed somehow larger, more imposing. He stood and examined himself in the small mirror mounted near Maya's bunk, turning his head from side to side. "The squad will want this," he said simply. "Sir, I only have one brush. You will show them. Tomorrow, after morning drills." He paused at the doorway. "This is good for morale. The crew has been stressed. 3 weeks hunting the Vrex raiders without contact. The warriors need something to focus on besides killing." And that was how Maya found herself, 18 hours later, sitting in the squad's common area with a line of Krenathi warriors waiting their turn. Word had spread faster than she'd imagined possible. It wasn't just squad Talon anymore. Warriors from other squads had started appearing, making excuses to pass by the common area, their eyes lingering on the brushed coats of Talon's members. She'd had to establish rules quickly, 10 minutes per warrior, no cutting in line, no fighting over turn order. Commander Scaroth had backed her authority with a warning growl that sent even the most eager warriors back in line. As she worked, Maya noticed something interesting. The warriors talked to her, really talked. They told her about their home world, about the vast forests where Krenathi cubs learned to hunt. They explained the meaning behind their war markings, the significance of their squad names. Razor, it turned out, wasn't named for his claws, but for his sharp mind. Kit had gotten his name from surviving being abandoned as a small cub in a kit-making facility, whatever that meant. Lieutenant Fang, a grizzled veteran with a torn ear, told her about losing his mate in the Battle of Karis Station. "Her fur was silver," he said quietly, as Maya worked the brush through his darker coat. "Like moonlight. She used to groom me before battles, said it helped her remember I was hers, not the military's." Maya's hands stilled for a moment. "I'm sorry for your loss." Fang's tail twitched once. "This feels like her touch. Thank you, small human." As the days passed, the battle manes became a phenomenon. Warriors started requesting specific patterns. Scaroth wanted his mane brushed straight back, giving him an even more commanding appearance. The cubs wanted their neck fur fluffed out, making them look bigger. Some warriors requested braids, which Maya had to teach them to maintain themselves since her hair skills didn't quite translate to fur. The ship's human crew started noticing the change. Captain Rodriguez called Maya to her office on the 8th day. "Sergeant Chen," the captain said, not unkindly, "I've been getting reports that our Krenathi allies are spending hours each day on grooming activities. Can you explain?" Maya stood at attention. "Yes, ma'am, I introduced them to the concept of brushing and it's become popular." "I can see that." The captain pulled up a security feed showing the common area, where 3 warriors were currently taking turns brushing each other, having fashioned crude brushes from salvaged materials. "What I want to know is why Squad Talon's combat performance has increased by 15% since this started." Maya blinked. "Ma'am? Their response times are better. Their coordination has improved. Scaroth says morale is the highest he's seen in his career." The captain smiled. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I'm authorizing you to requisition proper grooming supplies. The Krenathi liaison officer has requested you train other humans to perform this service." The supplies arrived 2 days later. Brushes, combs, even some specialized tools designed by the ship's engineer specifically for Krenathi fur types. Maya found herself running training sessions, teaching other human crew members the basics of Krenathi grooming. It became a form of cultural exchange, breaking down barriers that had existed since the alliance began. The breakthrough came during a battle simulation. Squad Talon was running exercises against Squad Venom, another elite Krenathi unit. Maya watched from the observation deck as Talon moved with perfect synchronization, their communication seamless. They won the exercise decisively. After the simulation, Commander Skoroth approached her. His battle mane was slightly disheveled, but his eyes shone with something Maya had learned to recognize as pride. "You have done something unusual, Maya Chen," he said, using her first name for the first time. "You have reminded us that we are not just weapons. We are people. We have bodies that can feel pleasure, not just pain. Warriors who remember they are alive fight better because they have more to protect." Kid and Razor bounded up, their own training manes now styled in elaborate patterns. They chittered excitedly, and Skaroth translated. "They want to know if you will teach them to braid. They say if they are going to have battle manes, they should be the most impressive in the fleet." Maya laughed. "I think I can do that." As she sat down with the cubs, showing them how to separate fur into sections, Maya realized she'd stumbled onto something important. The Krenathi were warriors, yes, predators, absolutely. But they were also people who'd lost touch with the simple comfort of being cared for. A hairbrush had bridged a gap between species that formal diplomacy never could. 3 weeks later, when the Triumph finally encountered the Vrex raiders, Squad Talon fought with legendary precision. Their battle manes, freshly groomed and styled, became a symbol of unity. And when the fight was over, Maya found her quarters filled with small gifts. Tokens of appreciation from warriors who'd remembered how to be more than just killers. Her hairbrush, the catalyst for it all, now sat in a place of honor in the squad's common area, mounted in a case Razor had carved by hand. Beneath it, in carefully scratched human letters, read a simple inscription. "The small human reminded us we have souls." Maya Chen had joined the military to fight. She'd never expected her greatest contribution would be teaching aliens how to care for themselves. But as she watched Squad Talon celebrate their victory, their battle manes gleaming, she understood that sometimes the most powerful weapon wasn't a gun or a blade. Sometimes it was just remembering to be gentle with each other.